Hi there, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT. And let's take a look at Robin. How's it going there? I just saw your comments at my website here from yesterday. And let's take a look at your situation. So you say, I'm going to appear in the TOEFL examination on July 11th. I appeared for the exam in 2012, and without any preparation, and scored 16 on the listening, 16 on the reading, 20 on the writing, and 27 on the speaking. Wow. I need to have more than 22 in the writing, the reading, writing, and listening, and more than 26 in the speaking, which you've already done. You say, this time I've practiced for a month, but I'm not able to improve up to the expectation, especially in reading. Now I have only 15 days. Please suggest something. This will be really a great help. I'm going to be honest with you, there's nothing that you can do in 15 days that's going to have a big impact on the subtotals in the listening, reading, and speaking areas. It takes time. It takes time for you to significantly improve those things. So 15 days is simply not enough time. Why don't you try this out? What if you postpone the TOEFL exam and then you study really hard for a month, and then you can take a full-length IBT practice test on my website. It does cost an additional payment of about $34, but at least it's not $200. And at that point, you can mark your progress. You can see where you are and then make a decision about whether or not you are ready to take the TOEFL IBT exam, because I'd hate for you to waste your money and take the test just to find out that your listening subtotal, for example, is only 18 or 19, or the reading is only, 19 or 20 and not 22. So it's going to take time, especially in those areas. Now, here's a question that I have is kind of interesting, is what have you done to get that speaking so high, and why is the speaking so much higher than your other academic English language abilities? So it's kind of a good and a bad thing. The good thing is you speak fluently, you have very good pronunciation, you have good control, I think, of your language use when you're speaking. So you have a lot of good things going on with your speaking. But why is the writing, reading, and listening areas so low? Now, I'm a little bit concerned. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to give you a reason why. We have kind of what's called fossilization, which happens sometimes when speakers learn a language. Now, if you've been living in the United States all this time, and I don't know that if you have, that's also a problem, because it looks like your speaking skills have gotten really good, and there's a wide gap between your speaking and your listening, reading, and writing proficiencies. And sometimes when you get a big gap like this, it's sometimes difficult to close that gap and to improve in those other areas. So first of all, you got to realize that it's not going to be an easy battle. For some reason, you've been neglecting your listening, reading, and writing proficiencies, which means you haven't been spending a lot of time doing that. Maybe it's boring to you. Maybe you don't like it. You don't see the importance. But you have spent a lot of time speaking and improving your speaking because you feel the need to do that. Now, I understand that speaking is the most important part of a language, right? I get that. We have to speak, communicate, talk with people. We have to be able to communicate. But for academic purposes, right, for university purposes, or if you have a job that has requirement of certain subtotals in the TOEFL, you also have to improve these other areas. All right, so I have some suggestions that I want to give you right now. You might want to write these down. And these suggestions are designed to help you improve your listening, reading, and writing proficiencies. All right, first of all, get in the habit. You may not like it. It might be boring to you, but this is going to be very, very helpful. Start reading for about 45 minutes every day. This is going to be very important for you. As you do your reading practice, Robin, focus on newspapers, magazines, and books. And you actually choose the topics. You can find topics in which you have an interest and read those topics. This will help prevent you from burning out, because the main thing is that you learn to enjoy reading and you start reading on a regular basis. And this is one of the best ways you can actually improve your reading score in the TOEFL, is just by practice, just by reading for pleasure. Now, number 2, you should also spend about 45 minutes each day with your listening practice. If you have English TV, focus on news, documentary history, and then especially science programs. Now, I know some of these things might be boring. I'll just give you an example. Last night I was watching a Discovery show about sharks. And it was talking about this one particular shark in the Philippines, and it has a really long tail, and it uses its tail to kill other fish so it can eat those fish. That would be something good to watch. The vocabulary is pretty advanced. It does help you to watch these kinds of programs. Now, if you don't have English TV for whatever reason, you can use websites on the internet. I'm going to give you 3 appropriate websites to help you reach your TOEFL listening goals. Number 1, National Public Radio. Number 2, TED Talks. And number 3, Randall's Cyber Listening Lab. These 3 websites will also give you some good practice. Now, as you do your reading and listening practice, Robin, you should work on your note-taking abilities. It is important to take notes on all sections of the exam, especially the reading. A lot of people think reading you have to take notes, but especially you should be taking notes in the reading. Those reading passages are pretty difficult, and you cannot read and reread them over and over. So you have to take down notes on the main points of each paragraph, and you create what's called a mind map. So when you're doing the TOEFL, you don't have to reread the passages all the time, and you have those notes or outline written down on a sheet of paper that you can review when you're answering the questions, the reading questions. So really work on your note-taking on the reading and the listening passages. Now, in the beginning, and this is why you can't just expect in 15 days to improve this, but if you do this for a few months, you will definitely develop a much better note-taking system, and your notes will be more complete and more accurate, and it will make it much easier for you to complete the TOEFL exam. All right, once you're taking notes and you're doing the reading and the listening practice every day, you should write and speak about this information. Now, your speaking is already pretty good, so let's say forget that. So you should be writing about these reading and listening passages. My goal for you is each week, beginning today, I want you to start writing 5 250-word summaries each week. That's over 1,000 words each week. You need to get practice writing about reading and listening passages. Now, I don't have to read these. They don't have to be scored, but you should be writing about these reading and listening passages. This is very important. So those are my first few suggestions. Now, I'm not sure how much time you have each day, but my recommendation is for you to spend at least, I'm going to say 60% of your available free study time to follow the suggestions I just outlined in this video, Robin. All right? Now, the next thing is my online TOEFL course. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, once you become one of my students, you can use my website any way you like. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. You'll have complete access to over 700 TOEFL lessons, all focusing on very important areas of your academic English language abilities: vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, listening, reading, writing, and speaking areas, right? So you have access to everything. You can use and do whatever you want. Now, I'm going to recommend my 30-day TOEFL study guide for you, but realistically speaking, it's probably not enough. You may have to use my course for several months before reaching your goals. So I'll put the link to the 30-day TOEFL study guide in the comments next to your comments, so you can click on that and take a look at that. Now, if you want, what you can do maybe my recommendation is maybe in about 30 days of good study, right? So you're doing that the first few steps. You're doing the reading and the listening practice. You're writing about 1,000 words every month, summarizing the information in the reading and listening passages. You're doing this consistently for a month, and then you're also going through the lessons in my 30-day TOEFL study guide, and you've done this for 4 weeks. Then you can take a full-length IBT practice test at my website. Actually, it'll give you a link to another website that does offer this as an additional service. And you can go to the 8th section of my course to learn more about those full-length IBT practice tests. So when you take the practice test, then you can look at your subtotals in the listening, reading, and writing areas, and then you can make a decision about whether or not you think you're ready to take the TOEFL IBT exam. All right, Robin? Anyway, good luck to you and all the best to your high-scoring TOEFL success.